Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so the news is in, and pretty much what we all did not want to happen. The worst possible thing that could happen. James Bradberry is now a Philadelphia Eagle. We all knew that he may go to one of our division rivals. We thought maybe it may be Philly, maybe it might be Washington, maybe even the Cowboys. I was thinking maybe the Colts or the Raiders, but I definitely didn't want him to go to the NFC East, and I definitely didn't want him to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. Bradberry was one of my favorite players on the team. I'm a cornerback kind of guy. I watch a lot of cornerback tape. I like to watch the position, so I naturally gravitate towards corners, and good corner play as my favorite kind of players on the team. And Bradberry was a very good corner for us. He was very, very good. He was top three at worst 2020. He was really shut down. Really good tackler. Came up physical at the line of scrimmage. Challenged every catch. Almost led the league. I think he did lead the league in pass deflections for a while. He was like 4 or 5 ahead of everybody else. Really standout season. Really great season in 2020. Then 2021 we switched it up. We went to a lot more man coverage. We kind of switched things up the way we played him, and he wasn't as good. Now, was he a bad player? No, he gave up a couple of touchdowns. He gave up a higher completion percentage than normal, but he wasn't a bad player. I would still say he was a top 15 level starting corner. I really believe so. So losing that kind of guy, it already hurt us enough. Corner is going to be a huge hole for the New York Giants. We already have gone over that, and we think maybe Aaron Robinson will step up, maybe Cordell Flott will step up into that slot and give us great play. But right now, there's a bunch of inexperience there. So, I mean, you can only do so much with what we have there. We're going to try to keep it moving that way and see how things go. But that's going to definitely be a huge loss for us. And it's even more of a huge loss because he's going to a division rival. And it's not really about the player. It's not about the player going there because it's not like he's Revis. I don't think he's going to have seasons like 2020 every single year, but I do think he's better than what he showed in 2021. So he's going there. They're going to have, I think Fletcher Cox is still there. I don't know how he keeps coming back. Hargrave is there. Jordan Davis is there. That's a formidable front. With Davis at nose tackle. That's a very formidable front. At edge, they're deep there. They got Hassan Reddick there, who I really have been wanting the Giants to sign the past 2 years, and he's found himself onto the Eagles. Last year he was on the Panthers. I wanted to sign that guy forever. Haven't been able to do it. Derek Barnett is there, who Andrew Thomas, our offensive tackle, our guy who's going to look like he's going to be an all-pro. He said that Derek Barnett was pretty much his toughest matchup last year. So that sort of tells you something. If he thought that he was the toughest matchup last year, that definitely tells you something. Montez, that's not Montez Sweat. I think that's Josh Sweat. Definitely not Montez Sweat. That would be scary. Josh Sweat, who's definitely a good rusher, definitely a good rotational rusher, and Brandon Graham. So they've got 4 solid edge rushers. I think they have 4 guys who they probably feel really good about. Brandon Graham is getting up there, but if you're rotating them in and out, that's 4 really good edge rushers. Linebacker, not as strong, but they got N'Kobe Dean, and they got a couple solid guys there. Not the highlight of their defense, but not a very weak point. You definitely don't call that a weak point there. And then at corner, here you go. They got Slay, they got Bradberry, and they got Maddox, and that's going to be playing in the slot for them. Now, safety is still a question for them. Safety is definitely still a question. But as far as corner, edge, defensive line, and even linebackers, especially because it's looking like N'Kobe Dean is going to be ready for training camp. Man, they got a roster put together there. They really got a roster, and then I won't even go into their offense. I mean, I guess I will. They got a good offensive line. We know that. Jalen Hurts is probably the weakest point on that team, but you got Miles Sanders there. I'm forgetting the other. They always got a bunch of running backs that are formidable. Then you got the tight end there. I'm forgetting the tight end's name. For some reason, the last year and a half, I've been forgetting players' names. But Dallas Goedert is the tight end that they have there. AJ Brown is there. Devontae Smith is there. So they have a ton of. They got really good lines on the defense and offensive line, and they're starting to add really good weapons. It looks like the only thing that could possibly hold this team back is Jalen Hurts. And that's possible because bad quarterback play can definitely hamper you. But this team is looking like the best team in the NFC East from bottom to top, from foundation all the way to the skills players. It looks like the best team in this division, and it just does. I mean, of course, Dak is going to elevate the Cowboys to a certain level because he's the best quarterback in his division. And of course, we'll have our edges and our two tackles that hopefully will elevate us. And Washington, I mean, who knows with those guys? But it's seeming like the Eagles have the best team on paper in the division, and it stinks because I really wish that we would have gotten James Bradberry to come back. I really want him to come back, and if he didn't come back, I would have rather James Bradberry been traded for a 7th-round pick, a future 7th-round pick, just to not go to the Eagles or not go to the Colts. Or not go to Washington. Because I don't think that he's a good matchup for guys like Kadarius Toney and guys like Wan'Dale Robinson and even guys like Sterling Shepard. But I do think that he's a very, very, very good matchup for people like Kenny Golladay, who I think could still be our number one receiver. I do think he still has that kind of talent to be our number one receiver, and I think Bradberry definitely limits him, even though he had a really good game against Bradberry in 2019. But overall, I think Bradberry definitely limits guys like that. You saw what we did when we put him on Travis Kelce. He pretty much shut Travis Kelce down that entire game. So let's not get it twisted. And I think that was last year when he shut down Travis Kelce. Let's not get it twisted and pretend like this guy isn't a good cornerback. Like he's not, I wouldn't say he's that top 3 guy that he looked like in 2020, but he's a guy. He's a top 15 guy. He's not 30 yet. He's not declining. None of that stuff is happening. The Eagles, they got a good player. We had to cut him for the cap. Joe Shane could have extended him if we wanted to, but he didn't want to have to deal with those kind of cap ramifications. But it stinks to watch this guy walk out of the door. We get nothing back. And then he goes to the Eagles. We're going to see him twice a year. I like him as a person. I wish him the best as a person. But I absolutely will not and cannot root for the Eagles. I definitely can never see myself rooting for the Eagles. So you guys, let me know what you're thinking it is. Just go ahead and type in the comments. James Bradberry to the Eagles makes them the best team in the division, or James Bradberry to the Eagles does nothing. Go ahead and say something like that down there. But I just think him going there, along with what they already have on the lines of scrimmage and at that other cornerback spot, it elevates their defense to the best defense in the division on paper. On paper. So you guys, again, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. Bradberry is still in the division. We're going to have to see him twice a year. Hopefully by the time we see him, our receivers are in high gear and we just blow through the Eagles. I would love that. I would just love that. And hopefully, we don't see this guy shutting us down and catching interceptions against Daniel Jones. So you guys, again, way down in the comments and have a good rest of your day. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.